Hello to all viewers of my channel. That headline, man, that really gets to the heart of one of the biggest challenges we're facing right now, doesn't it? As AI gets more and more powerful, how in the world do we make sure it's actually fair, that it's safe, and that we can, trust it?
I mean, on one hand, you've got this incredible potential, right? AI could totally transform our world for the better. The European Union has this great phrase for it, increasing human flourishing. But, on the other hand, it throws all these massive ethical problems at us. So the big question, the fundamental question, is how do we build AI that we can actually trust?
All right, so to really get to the bottom of this, we're going to break it down into 5 key areas. First up, we'll tackle the problem of the biased machine. Then we'll look at this big global push for what's called trustworthy AI. After that, we'll dive into how Europe is trying to create a real blueprint for ethical AI. Then comes the tricky part, who pays when things go wrong? And finally, we'll look ahead to what all this means for the future of work.
Okay, let's kick things off with a very real, very public example of AI bias. Because this isn't just some academic thought experiment, right? This stuff has real-world consequences for real people. So, picture this, it's 2018 and Amazon has to completely scrap this brand new AI recruiting tool they built. And why? Well, because it taught itself to be sexist. No joke. The system was trained on a decade's worth of resumes. And guess what? They were overwhelmingly from men. So the AI basically looked at the data and said, looks like men are better candidates. And it started automatically trashing resumes that even had the word women's in them, like, say, captain of the women's chess club. Unbelievable.
But here's the thing, and this is absolutely crucial to understand, the AI wasn't being malicious. It wasn't trying to be biased. As this quote here says, an AI model is just a blank slate. It's like a mirror. It just reflects whatever data we feed it, all our biases, all our flaws, everything. The problem wasn't the machine itself, it was the messy, biased human history it was forced to learn from. And this problem goes way, way beyond just hiring. I mean, just think about the voice assistants in your home or on your phone. Alexa, Siri, they usually have female voices, right? For those helpful, assistive roles. But when an AI has a more, authoritative job, like IBM's Watson helping to train doctors, it often gets a male voice. And these aren't just accidents. These are our own ingrained societal stereotypes, being absorbed and then amplified by the very AI we're building.
So, failures like these have been a massive wake-up call. It's sparked this whole global effort to try and figure out, okay, what does good AI even look like? And this has led to a big push, especially coming out of Europe, to build a real framework for creating AI that we can all actually trust.
So, what does that term trustworthy AI actually mean? Well, according to the European Union, it's really about 3 things. 1, it has to be lawful. It's got to follow all the rules and regulations. 2, it has to be ethical, respecting our basic moral principles. And 3, it needs to be robust, not just technically, but socially too. The end goal here is to make sure AI is actually serving humanity and protecting our fundamental rights.
Now, what the EU is trying to do here is create more than just a fluffy list of principles. They want a practical, repeatable process. See, it starts with our fundamental rights and values. From there, you define what's required for AI to be trustworthy. Then you create actual methods to make it happen. And it becomes this continuous cycle of developing, evaluating, and justifying what you've built.
Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually translate from principles into practice? I mean, how do you take these big, lofty ideas and turn them into concrete rules that developers can actually follow when they're, writing the code? Well, the EU's blueprint is built on 4 really essential pillars. First, human oversight. A human being has to be in control always. Second, transparency. We need to be able to understand how an AI is making its decisions. Third is fairness, obviously, to stop the kind of bias we saw with that Amazon recruiter. And last but not least, accountability. When things inevitably go wrong, someone has to be held responsible.
And to make these pillars a reality, the EU actually created a checklist for developers. And the questions on it are incredibly direct. For instance, it literally asks them, did you think about who might be negatively and disproportionately affected by your AI? This forces them to think beyond just the average user and really consider the impact on vulnerable groups, right from the very start of a project.
The framework also makes them come up with a working definition of fairness. And this is so important because fairness isn't just one simple thing. Does it mean everyone gets the same outcome, or does it mean everyone gets the same opportunity? Developers are actually forced to define what they mean by it, figure out how to measure it, and then justify their choices. This is how you take ethics from being this vague idea and turn it into a concrete engineering problem you can actually solve.
But look, even with the best guidelines in the world, AI systems are gonna make mistakes. It's just inevitable. And that brings us to one of the most complicated, tangled legal questions of our time.
When a self-driving car crashes or medical AI gets a diagnosis wrong, who's at fault? Who pays for the damages? Right now, honestly, this is a huge legal gray area.
The whole debate usually comes down to two main parties. On one side, you have people arguing that the developer or the producer is liable. I mean, they wrote the code, they were in the best position to prevent any harm. But then others say, no, the user or the owner is responsible. They're the ones who chose to use the AI in that specific situation, and they were ultimately in control of it.
For now, the law just isn't ready to treat an AI like a legal person. So the consensus that's starting to form is to basically look behind the curtain. Instead of blaming the machine, the legal system is going to look for the humans who are actually responsible, whether that's the user, the owner, or the company that made it.
Okay, so finally, let's look to the horizon. Beyond all the rules and regulations, how is AI going to fundamentally change our society? And maybe the biggest question for a lot of us, what about the world of work?
Well, the World Economic Forum has a pretty stark prediction. They say that by 2025, automation and this new division of labor between us and machines could get rid of 85 million jobs globally.
But wait, that's not the whole story. An earlier report from Gartner predicted that, yeah, AI would eliminate about 1.8 million jobs, but it would also create 2.3 million new ones. So what's really going on here?
It seems like it's not really about mass unemployment, but more about a massive shift in the job market. The jobs that are most at risk, it's the ones that involve repetitive, routine tasks. Think data entry, back office processing, even driving. But at the same exact time, all these new roles are popping up that need uniquely human skills. You know, things like creativity, critical thinking, and even managing teams of humans and AIs working together.
And ultimately, this brings us right back to where we started. AI isn't some destiny that's just happening to us. It's a tool, and it's a tool that magnifies human intent. So the real challenge here isn't just about writing better code, it's about deciding what kind of society we want to build with these incredibly powerful new tools. And that, well, that's a question we all have to answer together. Subscribe to the channel and like, and also suggest your topics for future videos in the comments.